Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is, are we about to go to war with China? I'm going to say that again. Are we about to go to war with China over Pelosi going over and landing in Taiwan? And let me just say, you remember Dmitry was told the fall of America would start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. I think that is probably the cheating went on in November. How can I say this? November 2020. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two of the countries will attack and defeat America in 1 day and 1 hour. So great riches will come to naught. Now, here's the point. Then God will raise up China, Japan, and many of the nations. They'll go against the Russians. They'll defeat the Russians, back the Russians to the gates of Paris, where they sign a peace treaty, but they make the Russians their leader. Under the leadership of the Russians, this is Armageddon, all the world goes down to attack Israel. Israel can't count on the help of the Jews in America, so she cries for Messiah. Jesus returns in the clouds and defeats the armies of the earth. Now, that has to do with Armageddon and just those things leading up to Armageddon. And I want to believe, I cannot for sure guarantee this, but I want to believe that the fall of America takes place about 4 or 5 months before Jesus returns at the very end of the tribulation. That's what I want to believe. Now, I can't guarantee that. Okay, so where is China? Based upon the two dreams that I'm about to read from what I think are two credible sources, well, here, let's read them and let's talk about them. Okay, first of all, flash traffic, urgent. China deploys nuclear ICBMs. This comes to us from HalTurnerRadioShow.com. China's People Liberation Army is now actively moving nuclear-tipped ICBMs into the Fujian province near Taiwan. These missiles can reach the United States. So, from that and another source, apparently Pelosi is going to land, and apparently China is about to prove they're not kidding. It's not a bluff. So apparently something is going to happen. I want to believe that it's not the end for America, and I believe that's what the dreams are about to say. All right, so this comes to us from Vicky Goforth Parnell, 12/16/21. I read this 3 or 4 weeks ago. She says, I received this dream two consecutive nights in a row. Well, that for me is confirmation. First of all, when someone like her has a dream, even if it's just one time, she's, as far as I'm concerned, has a pretty good track record, and that's someone I'm going to listen to. But when she says she has it 2 nights in a row, Bible says, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. Throughout the book of Revelation, there are many times where it quotes things twice. The book of Revelation is a standalone book. It confirms itself in major points all the way through it. I'm the only one in the movie theater, she says, so this is the dream. The lights go off. The screen lights come up. I see newspaper headlines. I see blood running down the screen. By the way, this is edited for flow so that it makes sense. Running down the screen, and I see the word war is in the center, rapidly expanding. Jesus said, you have seen the beginning, some of these things to come. Okay, is it saying that we're about to go to war? Well, that is the interpretation. That is the warning. But now understand, this is not like the written word of, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, okay? That is guaranteed to happen. Many of these are warnings. They're saying this is coming. This is a danger if you don't pray, which is why I started FastGap, where you go to prophecyclub.com, you get signed up. We fast and pray for our nation. Let's go on. Then the scene changes. I'm in my bed. The screen lights on my cell phone, and I hear the voice of DJT announcing, inbound nuclear weapons have been confirmed. He names the targeted states. Now, again, this is a warning. I don't think it's saying it has to happen. I think it says it's going to happen if we don't pray. And that's part of what comes forth here. I ran on my laptop trying to send messages from the cell phone at the same time, both displayed no connection. The electricity goes out. I make a dash for my 2 oil lamps and begin lighting them. Next scene. I'm looking at the flat world map with little armies and ships set up. It reminds me of the game called Risk, which had armies placed on the board to capture each other people's land. I see hidden ships in the waters and drones, some west of California, some near Alaska, New York, and Washington, D.C., and Virginia, both above and below the waters. I see some hidden near Florida and many ships departing from Mexico, all heading to Florida. There's a great battle in the waters with little ships. I'm going to say it again. It doesn't have to come to pass. But if we don't pray, it will come to pass. That's why I'm calling everybody. We got to pray, okay? We got to pray. Which, by the way, we are going to have a solemn September assembly, but we're going to do it by Zoom. It will be September 25th, and I'll talk about that more here in the next day or so. I see large ships leaving ports in Russia and China heading to California and New York. There's so much activity going on in this map, I'm not able to register it all in my mind. So I feel I need to continue focusing on the big battles and locations in this dream. I see invading fleet. Matter of fact, here's something else. Let me say. You folks been following Prophecy Club for a while now. You know, we've been getting dreams. Let's take, for example, Coverstone for a couple of years. If you look back on his dreams, how many of them came to pass? Well, I think he would say, and I think that the Lord would say, none of them. None of them came to pass if we had prayed. But the problem is, some of them did come to pass. This is not a prophecy. This is a warning. It's saying, you're in trouble, America. You're in deep, deep trouble if you don't pray. Now look at all the pre-tribbers that don't think they're going to have to go through any trouble. They're not interested in praying. And then the ones that don't believe that God is talking anymore, they're not praying. The ones that don't follow prophecy, they're not praying. So who's left up to pray? Who is going to pray for this stuff, my brothers and sisters? And the answer is right here, you and I. If we don't pray, this becomes a prophecy. This happens, but it doesn't have to happen. I see invading fleets off Alaska, Virginia, followed a little later in Florida. There are little armies of men and tanks from Mexico that attacked into California before the fleets arrive in Florida. I see flags of many nationalities, yet they're all flying under one united banner. So it's a picture of China and several other nations uniting against the United States. This banner flag represents a coalition formed into fleets and armies across this map surrounding and invading the United States. Okay, so how come Dimitri Duduman wasn't told about this? Well, I'll tell you what I want to believe. I believe he wasn't told about this because it's not guaranteed to happen. A great fleet submerged under the waters rises to the surface. The invading armies are massive. Now I see on this world map little X's in the colors of green, white, black, and red, appearing in numerous places. Jesus said the black X's are hidden weapons in the water. Some known, some unknown to America. The red X's are drones to be used in the invasion of America. The white X's are ships and stations who create and control the weather. They also control the weather machines with satellites. Remember, I've been talking about that. They can control the weather. Just yesterday we talked about how they're having superheat and fires and droughts out in Western America, and then Eastern America, Kentucky, and all of that is under flood. I'm telling you, they have weather machines, scalar wave. They also control the weather machines with satellites. The green X's are the fallen ones, the Nephilim, which will take part in the invasion of America from the land above and below the sea. Sounds pretty hopeless, doesn't it? Oh, dear Jesus, there's so many. We don't stand a chance. I crowd in dismay. Daughter, he says, where's your faith? I am the hope and salvation for your nation. Think about it. Jesus has always been the hope and salvation for America. Without Jesus, there wouldn't be an America. Many times over, we would not have made it. And now we have walked away from our God in so many cases, so many areas, so many people. And so these troubles have come upon us. As the Old Testament says, these things have come upon us because our God is not among us. When the people of your once great nation begin bending their knees in humble repentance, in true life-changing repentance, then we'll step down from heaven and begin aiding your broken nation as you fight against those who seek to destroy you. Now, you remember I told you August the 8th, 2015, I heard the audible voice of God say, this is the time of miracles. As the judgment hits, so will my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. You tell them, I will never leave them nor forsake them. And I'm going to meet the devil, inch for inch, step for step, pound for pound, everything he does, I'm going to meet him. This must be the judgment if it hasn't already started before then. So when the people of your great nation once again begin bending their knees in humble repentance, in real, true, life-changing repentance, then I will step down from heaven. So is that the great revival? If that's not the great revival, then America's not going to make it. So if the great revival hasn't started before then, it will have started by then. Then I will step down from heaven and begin aiding your broken nation as you fight against those who seek to destroy you. How long will that take, Jesus? I ask sorrowfully. That depends on the people of your United States, daughter. That is totally up to you, he answered. Now let's go to Coverstone. April 14th through 30th. Now the way it works with Coverstone is he'll have a dream, then the next night he has that dream with added information, and then more, and then more, and then more. So it takes the process of several dreams for him to get all of it, because a lot of these dreams are just so involved that probably if you and I were to get one like that, with that much information, we wouldn't be able to remember it, and probably he couldn't either, or anyone. So he gives it in stages like that. So anyway, this is April 2022. I dreamed that I was watching a large passenger plane with an American flag on its tail wing. It began a slight but normal descent. The people aboard through the windows appeared unafraid, reading magazines, listening through headphones, resting and sleeping. In other words, normal. So it's saying at this point, our nation is in normal mode. Suddenly, the plane did a nosedive straight down, straight down. Didn't say slightly declining, straight down. Did a nosedive straight down. The people on board made no changes in their activity. What is the nosedive? Is that going to war with China? Is that our dollar falling? Is that things getting expensive, or all of the above? Naval ships around aimed heavy-caliber weapons at Taiwan, drawing closer to the nation. So is that the conflict with Nancy Pelosi about to land in Taiwan? You see, we are not going to be able to say China started it. No, we started it. But Pelosi does not have to go to Taiwan. I saw military leaders in China pushing military pieces on a table, planning map. There were radio communications, and leadership was sitting near a red button. There was angry speech and pounding of fists on the table. The Chinese leader was also staring at a phone in his hand and rocking nervously in an old-fashioned American rocking chair that did not fit the decor in the room, meaning he really wants to be in support of America. He's sitting on America. In other words, American rocking chair. He knows that he's made a lot of money because of America, but he's also angry, okay? Now, from American military news, and I read this here a while back, but it fits, so I'll throw it in again. China surrounds Taiwan for massive invasion and rehearsal drills, okay? We've seen this coming. Not only is China preparing for this, but also America's preparing for this, so this will be coming for a while. I saw a table set beside St. Basil's Cathedral near the Kremlin. Putin and his military leaders were having a picnic with empty wine bottles, not vodka bottles, empty wine bottles on the table. Putin was holding his side in pain and not drinking. There have been the prophecies that say he's sick. He had a cell phone in his hand and was staring at what has added a while, sitting in the same kind of rocking chair as the Chinese leader, meaning Russia has also benefited greatly from America, because it's been said of America that when America sneezes, the rest of the world has pneumonia, meaning that America has blessed the whole world. So both China and Russia don't really want to destroy America. We are kind of the goose that laid the golden egg, but they will if they have to. Same kind of rocking chair as the Chinese leader. Putin was very calm and relaxed and untouched by the boisterous generals around him. The scene changed. European leaders were discussing the surrounding of Taiwan and what should be done to help them. The decision was made to let the world leaders of the United States and Britain handle the crisis, as they all had faith in that plan, meaning Russia and England or Britain is kind of standing back and letting America handle it. Each of the leaders stood and shook hands while wiping the sweat from their brow. Then I saw a split screen of both the Chinese leader and Putin hit send on their phones at the very same time. The leaders then casually shut their eyes and began to go to sleep. Now, what's the send? Is that the send button saying commence, start? Is that a button saying go to war? Is that a button saying to attack? The leaders then casually shut their eyes and began to go to sleep. The Navy ships quickly turned away from Taiwan. I saw many missiles raining down on Ukraine. It was a larger issue than reported in the news. I saw large missile silos all over western Russia uncovered and smoke coming out, but no launch took place, meaning we're very close to war. One large rocket launched from a Chinese ship headed east from Taiwan at hypersonic speed, but the trajectory stopped over the middle of America. So apparently it's saying that China actually launches one missile at America. Probably it's the hand of God stopping it. The plane at the first part of the dream dropped below the lowest clouds, meaning America, that nosedive is probably this war. Dropped below the lowest clouds, I saw land patterns on the ground below. There was an explosion just above the plane, and it lost all power. That's probably signifying some kind of an EMP attack. All of the electricity goes out. The first time the descent was directly by the pilot, in other words, because of the sins in America, but now the lights inside the plane went out, meaning you can count on it. The electricity in America is going to go off. This is not just one person. This is several people that have told us this. People became aware that their music had stopped and the TVs were off, and they were looking out the windows in shock, meaning until something like the American electricity goes off, they're not going to wake up. They're just going to think, oh, it's going to be okay, because it's always been okay for America. For the last couple of 100 years, it's always been okay through wars. You know, we've never really tasted war persecution like the Jews have. But it's saying it's about to come to America. There was screaming and beating on the pilot's door in absolute panic. Then it went completely dark. The prophecy is saying that our electricity is going to go off. That's what the prophecy is saying. As the plane was going straight down, the man I always see, meaning the angel, the man I always see was sitting next to the window, unafraid. He said out through the window to me, I told them to pray, but they did not. They need to take it seriously now. He then disappeared. Now, let me go back to my point. Who's going to pray? The pre-tribbers, they're not going to pray. They're going to be out of here. The people that don't believe in Bible prophecy, nah. People that are not Christians, of course, they're not going to pray. If they prayed, their prayers wouldn't be heard. The ones that are going to pray, my brothers and sisters, if it is to be, it's up to me and you. If we are going to save our nation, it's up to us, the ones that believe this stuff. We're not the only ones, but the handful is pretty small. Just a handful of people is going to be praying, which is why I'm begging you, go to prophecyclub.com, go to and just click on FastGap. Here, I think I've got it here in just a second. Let me just go ahead and go to it. Okay. Here's the way the front of the news of the website looks. So if you want a Berkey, you go up here and you click right here on the Berkeys. If you want to pray for Prophecy Club, you click on here at FastTrack. If you want to pray for the nation, click FastGap. Sign up. And if you want to listen to a program that has been taken off one of the platforms recently, you can click here. You can also download our app. If you want to go to Joseph's Kitchen, then this will take you over there too. Now, let me explain. When I'm asking you to fast, you're going to be surprised. Fasting is a lot easier than what you think, because we ask you to fast from midnight to 4 p.m. the next day, midnight Tuesday to 4 p.m. Wednesday. And when you're fasting for the Lord, He takes the hunger pains away. It's not a problem. Not a problem. I mean, you have to purpose in your heart that you're going to fast. And then Tuesday night, I send you an email directly from me with all of the mistakes in it, directly to you. I'm saying, all right, this is the prayer we're going to pray. And I'll tell you this, the prayer takes less than 2 minutes. So it's an easy fast, it's an easy prayer, but it's going to make powerful differences in our nation. Now, if you click Berkey's, then here's what it looks like. It'll take you over to this. These three we're out of. This is the one that I have that I like right here. This will provide water for the whole neighborhood. But get yourself a Berkey because the electricity's about to go off. So what does that have to do with water? Well, how do you think the water gets in those high water towers? It gets up there by electricity, pumps it up there. Electricity goes out within 2 or 3 days. You have no water. Where do you get water? Well, you might be getting it off your roof. You might be getting it out of the mud puddles, but you better have some kind of a way to filter your water. And there's been numerous prophecies say you better get water filters. Next thing is you want to have some gold and silver, at least a handful of gold and a handful of silver coins, at least that, very minimum. So we send you CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. They're prophecy students. They love Prophecy Club. They'll take care of you. Also, if you want your computers to start, your cars to start, then we recommend you go to EMPShield.com. Here, I've got one of them right here. Here's the way it works. This is what it looks like, okay? And all you do is you put the red wire on the red side of your battery, put the black wire on the black side of your battery, and the green wire goes over to the car body, and then the back peels off. You just kind of wipe a clean place under your hood, stick it there. It takes about 10 minutes to put it on. And that way, when the electricity goes off, if it is because of some kind of EMP pulse, the plan is that your car will still start when no one else starts. Like the old saying says, the one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. So when no one else's car starts and yours does, when no one else has electricity and you do, when no one else has a computer and you do, you are in a much better position. Much better position to be able to help your neighbors. And they say, how'd you know this is coming? Well, because I listened to God. Okay. Other thing is, this is actually a loaf of bread that I actually cooked. I actually took this in my home, and I actually eat this bread. Matter of fact, that's what I had for breakfast and lunch and breakfast yesterday. It's probably 80% of what I eat now. I absolutely love it. So this is bread. Now, here's the way we do it. At Joseph's Kitchen, they show you how to take wheat berries, 30 seconds later, grind them to wheat flour, put that with 6 ingredients into a bread machine, push a button. 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice hot steaming loaf of whole wheat bread. That is good for you. And while I cannot legally say it's lowered my blood pressure, I cannot legally say it's lowered my cholesterol. But I'll tell you, my blood pressure is good. My doctor took me off my blood pressure medicine, and they told me to cut my cholesterol pills in half. And I think next time I'm going to the doctor, they're going to take me off cholesterol pills. And the only thing I can point to is the only change in my diet is really just eating whole wheat bread. So I want to say it cleaned it up. Now, the picture to the left is in our warehouse. That shows you that we have wheat. That's the point we're trying to say. When a lot of people are out and they cannot ship you any kind of a food, at Joseph Kitchen, yes, they have it, and they can ship it to you. It comes in those 7-gallon containers like that. This is the way they receive it now in these, what they call Pro Boxes, holds 2,500 pounds of wheat, and they're shipping it literally around the world now. And it's in stock, ready to ship. To get it, you go to josephskitchen.com, you click on this shop right there, and then you go over to the page that'll look kind of like this. You decide, first of all, main thing you got to do is get a machine package. That grinds the wheat berries into the flour and then makes the bread. Okay, that's the mechanical part of it. Then you decide how much food you want. You want to have food for 2 people a year, or for 4 people a year, 6 people 1 year. Well, how much food do you want? And if you want to be able to make your food and do so when the electricity is out, then you click on one of these and you get this. And I've got one right behind me, right over here. I've tested it. I love it. It's a nice little. It's powerful enough to make bread when there's no electricity. Plus, charge your cell phones and a few other things. Anyway, check it out. The Prophecy Club app is probably the simplest, easiest way to follow Prophecy Club that there is. If you want to get it, I'll explain how it works. Go to prophecyclub.com, and then if you're Apple, you click right here. If you're Android, you click right here, and this is what you'll see. If you're Android, it will look like this, and you download. You want to look for this symbol here. Download that and click install. If you're Apple, you click and it'll look like this. Then after you download the app, it will look like this. So here's the way you do it. Remember, you're going to download something that looks like this. So if you want to look at, say, 1 month, you click here. A past month or a past month, it downloads all of the apps or all of the programs. You click on one, it starts playing. You can either watch it or listen to it, your choice, either one. And if you get a phone call or something interrupts you, it pauses, and then after the phone call, it'll start again. Click like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend.